After 2 weeks away, a return to the LPGA Tour of Korea, a 4-round competition this week on offer from Sogwipo-shi on the island of Jeju. This is the Doosan Engineering and Construction Weave Championship. We say good afternoon and welcome to Teddy Valley. 120 players in the field, the largest of the 2024 season to date. And we begin our coverage today with Hung Yoo Min. 2 under towards the midway mark of her opening round on an overcast day. Plenty of rain in the skies as well, leading to some soft greens and an opportunity to attack the pins. EA1, she won the Blue Canyon Ladies Championship just a couple of weeks ago. She's also the only player to win this tournament in its second playing. Lips out in an attempt to go below par. Yunina next to fire away on the par 5/8. 508 meters long. It is the longest hole on this 18-hole facility. Sends it to the right side of the fairway. Will just stay in regulation. And an uphill putt from Shinjie. Over on 6 and enough to run it all the way up to the hole. Tap in par keeps her at even. Last in the group, Hung-Shin Shil at +3 through 7 holes, and looked a lot more disappointed with that drive than you might expect considering where it lands. Settled in the fairway, and we will move right along. Pitching wedge in hand at 9, Shea Ream. Unable to reach in 2. Had she been able to putt, probably wouldn't have been able to do much better than that. It's a nice bit of play with the short game.
잠시만요.
Number 8 at 508 meters being the longest hole on course. The 7th at 130, the shortest. Par 3. Front right pin location today. Just about level with the indentation at the front of the green. Skip ahead to 8 for the time being. 305 for Unina. Playing the fairway wood and crisscrossing right to left. A decent look down towards the pin from there. ENG, she's going with 8 iron. 7 holes in a row, all pars to start the tournament. Trailing Che Gabin's score to beat a 65 to open the tournament. Trying to use the soft fairways as a bit of guidance and skip it onto the green. Is a birdieable putt. Go back to 8. Hang Yu-min, of course, her sensational rookie season last year. One of the things we saw week in and week out with her game is just her unbelievable power off the tee. 20 meters longer than her group mate gives her. Really good advantage, especially when she's striking the woods as well as she can do. An example of that there as Park Ji-young, the last two tee off at 7 and the best tee shot of the trio. And here at Teddy Valley, biggest field of the season thus far, certainly the biggest prize pool as well. 1.2 billion won. This competition was held in August last season, one of the kickoffs
더 나은 미래를 짓는 두산건설 대표 이정환입니다. 두산건설 위브 챔피언십이 작년 8월 첫 번째 대회에 이어 올해는 4월 KLPGA 국내 개막전으로 골프 팬들을 다시 만나게 되었습니다. 이번 대회는 2024년에 개최되는 국내 28개 대회의 첫 시작을 알리는 국내 개막전으로 최정상급 선수 120명이 참석하며 그동안 갈고 닦은 기량을 마음껏 발휘할 예정입니다. 대회를 주최하는 두산건설은 선수들이 최고의 실력을 발휘할 수 있도록 절도 있고 품격 있는 대회로 만들도록 최선을 다하겠습니다. 두산건설은 이번 대회를 위브의 5가지 의미를 담아서 KLPGA 선수들과 협회, 구단 및 골프팬들 모두가 함께하는 대축제장으로 만들고자 합니다. We have 기다리시던 최정상급 선수들을 직접 만나시는 꼭 가보고 싶은 대회. We live 대회 이후에도 다 같이 다 함께 즐길 수 있는 기쁨이 있는 대회. We love 진정한 팬으로서 격려하고 응원하는 사랑과 행복이 있는 대회. We save 체리티를 통해 환경과 사회 공헌에 기여하는 대회. We serve 본격적인 국내 개막전이 시작되는 만큼 힐링되는 대회입니다. 아름다운 제주도에서 펼쳐지는 축제에 출전하는 최정상급 선수들의 멋진 플레이를 응원해 주시길 바라며 작년에 이어 올해에도 선수와 팬들 모두가 즐겁게 즐길 수 있는 두산건설 위브 챔피언십에 지속적으로 많은 관심과 성원을 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
And welcome to the tournament and welcome to Teddy Valley. Of course, that had its grand opening September the 22nd back in 2007. One of the new additions into a 30 event season last year. Rather dramatic one as well, with EA1 needing a playoff to take the historic first tournament. Weather affected round back then as well in August. It lost the day due to severe inclement weather. Well, we have some gray skies, certainly nowhere near the volume of rain that we saw the last time we were here at Teddy Valley. Shinjie keeps the par streak alive, staying even heading to this 8th tee. We head to the 8th fairway for the approach shots. Uni now will go first just before the fairway bunker at 111. I need a fair amount of club here too, 23 yards deep the pin, all the way to the back. It's wonderfully played. She certainly played back center. Within 4 or 5 meters for her birdie. The aforementioned EA1, 4.2 meters this putt to get under par. Starts on its break, but significantly more velocity than she needed. Never really gave the break a chance. There's Hung Yu Min. 101. Great amount of backspin on that. Works it in tight. And Park Ji-young for a birdie. She needed that to get back to even. It's a great tee shot, but nothing to show for it here at 7. Bungshin Shield from the sand. Really nice recovery. That was anything but a straightforward escape. If anything, the rain might have helped improve the lie there. Also finds herself at the back of the 8th green. EA1 to come back down the hill now, and from our vantage, left to right break. This time a little bit on the opposite end of the speed spectrum. Loops around, pops out, and that will be a drop for last year's absolutely dominant superstar. Park Ji-young has some company, some additional company, I should say, down tied for 73rd plus 1. Misread at the 10th. Fast and furious, we crisscross the course to the 8th. Start for Shinjie. Also unable to find pay dirt on the par 5. He's settling for a par. T48, bogey the second, birdie the fourth, all pars otherwise. We knew we were heading to 10. We just weren't quite ready for Janye Sung. Been an impressive pickup to start the back nine. Slightly misaligned, and that is 10 pars from 10 at even. Young away with her drive on 9, EA1 next to play. Pairist of swings for EA1 in her quest to find letter E beside her name once again. Back to 8 with Hun Yumin. A little bit left to right the break. Speed, too much of it. Disappointing one to let slip. That bird that would have taken her up to -3 would have been into a tie for 6th position. Four iron for Pacquiao here at 10. The most popular of clubs these days. Hybrids and woods more often in favor than the iron, but players can certainly develop an affinity for what they will feel is a lot more control. Skirts the left side of the fairway. Her birdies came earlier in the round, 1 and 4. Start to hear the wind pick up as well. And that is a very loud reverberation off the golf cart. I don't think she can blame Mother Nature exclusively for that being a hooked drive. She certainly would have heard that crack all the way at the tee blocks. And now Park Jung with her heels in the rough. And from nearly the rough into a much more precarious position, wanting to shape that over the sand, but didn't have enough to carry. And she does wind up in the trap. Doing very well from Peng Xinxiu. Of course, the name of the game for her this season will certainly be consistency. Third in the rookie points last season. Picked up 2 wins in her first year as a full member of the KLPGA Tour. Neat little line, 1, 2, and 3. As we go over to Hung Yumin. Excuse me. That'll be coming up in a moment. Pacquiao. Just inside the fringe. An uphill putt with lots of movement to it. Down from pretty much the northern extreme of the course. That's where this green is located here. Typically played as the 17th hole of 18. And this course isn't in use for the tournament, but they flip it for the KLPGA. We go Valley on the way out and Teddy on the way in. Now Hung Yumin. It is an 8-iron for her. I'm going to stay pretty close to the front of the green. That's exactly what she's done. That's exquisite. And while the birdie may not have fallen 10 minutes ago, she's in a really good position to make up for it here, move back into the top 10. Chen Sung from the rough at 11. Also a front pin placement today. Much more to the right though. Has some work to do yet. This is looking a fair bit left, but much more pressing. The wrong club entirely. Could have clubbed down twice even and been in a better lie than that. Xinxiu trying to avoid the same mistake. That's much better, but that is the advantage of going a little bit longer when the hole is at the front with the downhill. Allows you to be a touch more conservative. Wily veteran escapes from the sand and will prepare a shot to set up par. Answer to where the ball ended up. It took quite the ride down the cart path. That must have just snuck on, and then gravity did the rest. She takes her club lengths relief. Not quite ready for her shots, so let's go and see Imi Jung for the first time today. She's at +3 as well. She's going to play a 6 here with her second shot on 10 after finding the charitable contribution zone in the fairway. She's well right off the perimeter fairway, and that will nestle into the long grass. Just a little layup, and actually sees the ball carom off a piece of debris. Throws her a little bit further offline, but she won't be complaining. She might have a check to write for a dent to the golf cart, but if it helps set up a birdie, maybe it's a business expense worth making. Che Gabin, she shot a 65, has the lead here after 18 holes of play. 2 shots over No Seung-hee, Moon Jung-min, and Hong Ji-won, with Park Hyung-kyung in the podium positions, tied for third, 4 under in this opening round. Is the Doosan Engineering and Construction Weave Championship from the Teddy Valley Golf and Resort. Will return after a few minutes. one from her perch, well above the hole. On the balance beam of getting enough to get out of the rough. The flip side of that argument is if she sculls it a bit like she had done, makes for a long putt, almost longer than the chip she had just played. Punching Shield at 9, an inch closer to even outside of 10 meters downhill and slightly left and out. It's a 39 at the turn, starting with a triple bogey, certainly not ideal, and has been fighting it a bit ever since. Jiang, a little kick to the left, straightens out just in time. She's good and consistent, but it's like a big back 9 to move up the leaderboard. Bogeys at 2 and 4, her lone birdie on the par 3 third. Union an uphill putt that finds the bottom of the hole. It's her second birdie of the round thus far. That is 2 at the turn. She goes out with a 35 inside of the top 30. EA1 rescues a par. Rather lengthy putts to avoid dropping back-to-back bogeys. And Yumin makes easy work. 33 is her score midway through. Does see that T6 before headed to the back 9. And the tap and finish for the tour legend Xin Jie. Pretty remarkable to think she turned pro back in 2005, and since then 20 wins, 5 of them majors. Good to see her around for an event or two. 2023 she returned after a pandemic enforced hiatus. Participated at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Amy Jung trading off wedge for the putter, and we'll mark off a few strides from the hole. Park Ji-young at 9. Big swing of the driver. Almost an identical spot to where she placed her drive at 8, left side of the fairway. Generally, when we're able to get the tour drone up in the air, It's a sign that the weather's improving. Longer these players' careers stretch, they lose a little bit off the top end, the driving distance, but like riding a bike, swinging that driver. Dead straight down the fairway in a round that has literally seen no mistakes yet. Always fascinated the tips and tricks the likes of one can try and garner from a veteran who turned pro when EA1 was 2 years old. Something of a passing of the torch. Slick it on from the fairway. Backspin in just a few short feet away from birdie. Chun-Ye Sung, par 4 12th, bounces that in brilliantly as well. .130 for Buck Yo, going with 8 iron. Only 14 yards onto the green. Wants to be right. Trying to skip it over the rough, has just enough. On the opposite side of the green, however. Long way to come back, left to right. Certainly finding center right, or even the right edge of the fairway there is ideal off the tee. Last week, actually the last event, a couple of weeks ago, the Blue Canyon Ladies Championship, not a single round over par on the way to her victory. 68, 71, 68. She shot a 9 under. Young, over and beyond the fringe, starts to drift on back towards the taller grass, but she should be putting with her next shot. Back to 11, 12.7, and she's got to get up the hill. It's a pretty good crack here. Call it 11 meters of the distance she needed. Fairly straightforward. Putt for par will be next. In the meantime, Chen Ye-sung to get under par. She completes this run of 3 par 4s to start the back 9. Their first birdie of the day. And just enough to roll it on down. Che Reem, birdie 2 for her. Tied for 15th now. Bogey-free round continues. Great setup shot. AA1 cashes in. Essentially eliminating that bogey just a couple of holes ago, and further underscores the importance of her big par save at 8. She hits the clubhouse at the halfway mark, rather at even. Pacquiao with her putt for par as well. She's got 9 holes to find 4 strokes to reach the score of the day thus far. On the main left side of the fairway, attacking the middle of the green. Fades that over to the right portion. Shinjie, this could be her first birdie of the day. Long putts. Just about had it too. Yoni now 130, looking down towards the pin at 10. She strikes that wonderfully. Just a couple of short feet separating her and a birdie. Looked from the reverse angle. Punishing Chill should be delighted to order up almost an exact duplicate. About 6 strides left. And that brings the break and the downhill into the variables for her to juggle. Jiang at 9. Too much speed. Misses out on the chance to sit even halfway through the round. Quickly resets and recovers for a par. That's now 5 in a row for her. But it does mean she remains 8 back of Che Gabin. 700 score to beat. Gone through the top 3. That's unchanged. Kim Min Bial, Lee Jae Young, Kim Min Sun 7 all in the clubhouse with rounds of 69, tied for 6th at 3 under par. Another 5 names to add to that list. The amateur Kim Min Sol, she's still out there through 10 holes of play, but playing the front portion of the course, to come on in. Hang Yumin, of course, just got up to 3. Kim Na-young, Cheonu, Sun Ye-bin, and Kim Ji-hyun. The top 14 in this Doosan Engineering and Construction Weave Championship. We're live from Teddy Valley. Approaching 3 p.m. local time here in Seogwipo-shi, just south of the peninsula on the island of Jeju. The opening round of the Doosan ENG Weave Championship. 14 degrees and cloudy with the odd burst of rain this afternoon. Much of the same Friday and Saturday, but shaping up to be a wonderful Sunday with mostly sunny skies, where somebody will be exiting the tournament with a check for 216 million won. It is a massive money tournament, just the third of the season thus far. We say good afternoon. You're more than welcome along here on the LPGA Tour of Korea. Great to be back. Off seasons around professional sports, they seem like they're getting shorter and shorter, but it is all for the better for us who get to watch and enjoy these fantastic athletes battle nearly week in and week out. 120 in the field this week. Sheen Shields starting her back nine, would have loved to do so with a birdie, but drifts right at the very end and will settle for another par. Slow start to the tournament for EA1. Back to even with a birdie at the last. Very much more successful back nine. She rolls in and just stops at the border of our charity zone. A big white circle in the fairway. Quite a few contributions last year. She's starting to pick them up early in 24. And this 10th green is where she and the rest of her group are headed. It's where we find Uni Na. Overcooks it, pops off the back to deny her a birdie. And back to back for her as well. GA 9 holes, 9 pars. Our first shot of the back nine. Chun Ye Sung on the par 5 13th. Got the long holes pretty much out of the way in the heart of this back nine, 13 and 15. Let's do the right side of one of the longest greens on the course at 43 yards deep. Just crest the hill and will be sitting quite pretty, looking down towards the pin. Nod of approval as she gets the yardage readout from her caddy. And Yunina nearly joins her. It's been a tough hole to crack this 10th. Only 3 birdies here all day. Where that pin was cut in for an opening round, definitely a test. Just in a little valley between 2 hills on either side. Excellent. Pitch play from the fairway. And now EA1. Hardly any wind to factor in. Touch of a breeze left to right, and that was the right club. She needed maybe another couple of yards and she would have been able to roll that down. It's a clean slate for her to start this back 9. She is 6 back with the birdie here. But will be quite difficult to match the performance of Che Gabin, 65. She leads the tournament by 2 strokes, comfortably in the clubhouse at 7 under. Hour number 2 of our opening round coverage resumes on hole number 10. No clear-cut looks for bird. That would be par number 83, 4, and 5 if all goes according to plan for our featured group. To be fair, well, it's not playing very open to birdies, number 10. There have only been 17 bogeys today out of 117, which is pretty good odds. 11's a different story. We've had 22 birdies here today. This opening round pin placement leading to an average proximity to the hole of 5.91 meters. We can have that for that wonderful wedge shot down. Shinji back at 10, the last putting for a birdie. 5.5 meters, but significantly downhill. The break's going to be the trickiest part of this putt. Slightly inside at the point of arrival. And the 20-time champ. The illustrious career will be settling for par number 10. Now Hung Yu Min, excellent drive to put her here. Only 82 meters to go. Right on the money at that 2.5, 3 meter mark with the approach shot. Off by a whisker to the left. Of course, as the announcer says, settle for a par. It's very much within the understanding that she still has to make the putt. Going back uphill now. Three feet and no trouble. Jung still +3 on the 12th. Just about gets one back, but too quick. Catches the right edge, pops out, and another par. Tied for 101st, still without a birdie on the day. One with an even 4 to start the back 9. Inside the top 50 now at T49. One swing of this putter. You can see her surge into a share of 3rd spot on the leaderboard. This for 4 under. Doesn't quite read the break. Struck it well, but misaligned. Needed a bit more to her right. Settles for par. Shares that score with 9 at the moment, including Kim Min Sol, the amateur, low amateur at -3. Jay Reem -2. This is 89 meters. Short approach on the par 5. It's to the portion of the green she wants to play at. And now Yuni Na. Great angle to read the break, just as she had done very well. Ducks it in for her second birdie in the last 3 holes. Tied for 15th now at 2 under. One continuing to drive the ball brilliantly. 100% driving accuracy through 9 shots with that club. GA equally proficient. Perfect 9 for 9 for her as well. 225 yards per drive. About 10 ticks off the first round average from the whole field. Jay Reem for birdie at 13, and big exhale, sigh of frustration. Watches that go missed. Chen Ye Sung, we're looking at bird on the par 3. Plenty of right to left break. Too much, in fact, for how she had lined herself up. Par on the par 3, a par on the par 5. Move right along with the scores unchanged. .117, a 9-iron for Shinjie. That might be the one that leads to the par streak come to an end. Probably doubled the distance remaining, but with the wind starting to pick up, a good spot on the green. Young joins the party from off the fairway. This group neatly aligned on the right side of the green. Top of the leaderboard remains unchanged, though Hung Yumin is starting to close the gap, tied for 6th. She is, as one of the two closest to the top of the field that remains out on the Teddy Valley Golf and Resort. More from the opening round after this quick break. Pick things up on 11 with the A1. A swervy putt for birdie. The break happened immediately, and it stayed pure the rest of the way on by. Bit of a sticky situation, nearly a sandy situation for Bangxin Shiel. 116 from the rough on 12. And she gets a fortuitous bounce to avoid another unfavorable patch of grass. Kicks onto the fringe of the green. Shenjie, a wonderful setup shot at 11. And to reap what she's sown. No. Maybe the curse is in. Be another par, as close as she's come in the 80 minutes that we've been on the air to moving north of even. When you mean at 110, final stretch in the par fours. This is the 4th in a row, and when she is at her best, those wedges are playing like that. 2 feet might be unfair with how precise that approach shot was. We'll be heading to 13 next. That's where Imi Jiang is at +3. A difficult downhill putt, but she gets this one to go. A much needed birdie. First of the day, comes 4 holes into the back 9. She goes to +2. One with the grip and rip of the driver and right down the middle. Bangxin Shiel from the fringe basically finishes with the ball hovering over the hole. She's going to putt with her wedge. That's how close she was. That's a frustrating par for the sophomore. Karina had her work cut out for her. The result seems about what you'd expect. Par 3, an arrival that jettisons off towards the backside. The many Weave-sponsored athletes throughout the course, throughout the tournament. Picture perfect drive, right down the middle. This is once or twice in the fairway before settling in the rough, and now Shinjie. The depth of the green was right on the money. It was on the wrong side of it, however. This green as well, with that uphill just beyond the pin, allows you to be a little bit less, risk averse. Take that extra club. Spin it, you're laughing. First of two nearly identical shots in terms of their lie. Jeong does not take the extra club. She went for it though. Shinjie goes right, Park Jeong goes left.
여기서 물어봤죠? 담당이가 사실 자기도 이제는 이제 아이를 가져야 되지 않을까 싶은데.
좋은 발상이야.
Expertly picking her way across the fairways.
안 되는 게 지금 많으니까 그것 때문에 고민이야. 만약에 우리가 줄도에 안 내려 내려왔으면 아마 임신을 이미 진작에 했을 수도 있는데 제주 내려서 몇 년 동안 서로 돈벌이를 못했으니까.
You mean, and her power play. Grabs the 5-wood out the bag and gonna see what she can do here. 252. Down the hill, and we'll open up the line, excuse me, to good vantage of the pin. And Yunina has this patch of dry grass to try and blast past. Never in doubt. Each of the three have set up their approach shots. Bakjiang, high lofted shot, trickles past the pin to an effort for about a meter and a half for her par. .2 for Amy Jung on the par 3 and downhill. As the roll back online, she'll need another nudge. And Uni now it's 80 meters on 13. Have to come up and down. As she will be rolling that putt with a high degree of difficulty. .2 for Shinjie. It's going to pick up a ton of speed as it starts down the hill.
Really? Wow.
Really wow, she exclaims. What more do I have to do? Those are sarcastic smiles as much as anything, but a career as long as hers, you learn to just take one hole at a time. And Pengxin Shield, meanwhile, at 13. Great backspin. Brings it to a halt just above the pin. This is the A1 for birdie. Starting on line. Moves just inside at the very end. She rocks back on her heels, anticipating and hoping for a different result. She stays firmly planted at that even par score with the par 5 coming up next. And you mean only 59 meters to go. And that is the great advantage you offer yourself when you can play as long and as accurate as she has been doing today. Pak Jiang trying to avoid a bogey. Is that 4-footer for par to keep her one shot above par. Jay Ream just off the fairway, but did avoid the bunker. 81 to go on the par 5. Uni now for a birdie. Long crescent-shaped path, left to right and to the outside. And on the 499 meter, nearly half a kilometer par 5, Shinjie goes first. Peak of the summer, this would be one of the postcard holes at Teddy Valley. Leaves Pak Jiang. To the left side of the fairway on an absolutely launched drive. speed down on the green by about a foot. It is short. We're ready to erupt in celebration. That is a bit of a shocker for Hung Min to not be strolling off the green with a birdie. It's a decent on, but some work to be done. Speaking of, the most straightforward of putts. Gonna start left pretty quick. J.A. Ream, a little bit too generous with the amount of room she offered to the outside of the hole. Iga Young at 16. She's at even in the home stretch. Also perched up above the pin. Has done everything but really putt consistently today. We haven't seen many a miss with her woods or her drivers, but she's off towards the shrubs. Wondering how she literally and figuratively let that slip. For Park Ji-young. No such troubles as her partner into the fairway. Just outside of her groove after that missed putt and tee shot that finds the rough. Korea. It's a little bit past pin high. It's a nice shot. Five meters or so to the right of target. And digging in to the fairway bunker at 15, Pak Ju Young at 1 under. Nice shot out of the sand, and Chun Ye Sung is our next spotlight. 4.1, she's putting for a birdie. Starts uphill, levels out towards the end. Good speed, just lacking the line. Went with the aggressive route and GA off into the rough. On and off the green in the blink of an eye as that rough does its best Venus flytrap impression once again. That's just about the textbook way to play. That shot from there in the fairway. A1, very nicely done. Sheila tip of the visor. And look at that scorecard. That is sweet relief for her. Just her second birdie of the day and her first since hole number 5. Still trying to undo that triple to start the round. It's always going to pick up speed. The closer it got to the pin, the further down the hill. Yunina is slightly off. Now Shinjie from the rough needs to pick this up and in a perfect world drop it shortly thereafter on the fringe. Exactly like that. Would have been quite the spectacle if that would have been the birdie. She played that really well. Everything but the score she wanted. Can't say she and her caddy don't have a good sense of humor about it. And meanwhile, she's within 3 but hasn't done much to alter that the past couple of holes. Nice to save a par after the frustrating miss for bird.
근데 아까 대회에서는 네, ENG 풀스라지 쓸수 있는데 풀스라지가 아니에요?
Yeah, one, this is going to take her on the wrong side of par again. Wants to make sure that it's just the one, but she's pushed it and she's out of her rhythm and very much in her head. Be a big stumble for her at this stage in the round. Yunina, 5-footer for par. She has been faultless since the second hole, where she recorded her only bogey of the round thus far. And an uphill attempt for Park Ji-young to save her par. She's pushed that as well, just about an identical miss to EA1's. And both players in green and yellow in the bogey column again. A double bogey from even, tied for 51st, to tied for 89th. Got away from her quickly. Park Ji-young picks up her 3rd birdie of the back 9. That takes her to 2 under par. First bogey since hole number 4 with no birdies along the way. +2 for her as well. Chanye Sung, it's a 7-iron on 17. Half the depth of this hole, and on the right side she's going to get a little bit of help here. The downslope returns her closer to center. Che Reem unable to reach the green in 2, playing her 3rd from the fairway. Still a bit short. Pulling out all of stops to leave this hole with a par. The accuracy off the tee remains a constant. Picked up a ton of speed after it landed on the green, but any less club and she might not be on it at all. The longest of the par threes on course, 162. Pin at the front. You're not going too crazy with your iron selection, but it does make pinpoint accuracy much more difficult to come by. For Jiang, it's a 7-iron. Well off and to the right towards the cart path. 19 birdies here today on 14 to this point. These are the holes best suited to her game when she's on. And you mean not entirely sure just yet. Started to roll back down towards the fairway, but gets caught in the tall grass. Always love the camera angle on that side of the drive. You get a really good sense of the speed as the ball goes whistling by. She'll be content by that area of the fairway in which she has landed. Chudnye Sung now, the penultimate hole. Downhill putt for birdie on 17. Starting on line, and it got on and hopped back off in a fraction of a second. You tap in par. Speaking of pars, that's what Che Reem is after, and that is what she has obtained. It's 5 from 5 now as she stays at 2 under here at Teddy Valley. Remains Che Gabin's day. 2-stroke advantage, 7 under par over No Sungi. Hung Yumin, 3 back with 5 holes to play, and she's not the only one in the hunt. We'll have a little bit more on that when our third hour of coverage begins shortly. It's the opening round of the Tucson Engineering and Construction Weave Championship. We'll be right back to Teddy Valley. It's great to be back for another KLPGA season. Ang Yumin I'll be wondering how much she can factor in this year. So much of the rookie campaigns are about learning what it takes to be a week in and week out pro, the top of your game. And the adage and the contrast between she and EA1, you remember you can't win a golf tournament in the first round, but you can certainly lose it. Bak Ji-young and her groupmate in yellow have certainly been fighting it today at times. And what a season it had been for both of them. Two of the top three in the money rankings. Consider just how rich of a year it was in growth as an athlete and in literal sense as well. EA1 with 1.4 billion earned last season. That is more than this entire purse this weekend, and it's a hefty one at 1.2 billion to be split amongst the fields. And while the birdies have yet to fall for Shinji-Ae, no matter what she does. That was a 99.99% perfect putt. And she just cannot buy one today. Her saving grace has been she has not bogeyed. She has played some unbelievably consistent golf, but that reaction pretty much summarizes her day. She'll be even again. Heading to the next tee. J.A. Ream looking to move within 4 with a birdie here, but about 10 revolutions short. Probably would have been right anyways with a little bit more distance covered. There's a bogey at the last for Bak Ji-young, and it will be a bogey here at 14 as well. That'll drop her to +3. Outside of the top 100 now, exactly level on it, tied for 100th, and 10 strokes back. And you mean back at it. We're early enough in the year that we marvel at those approach shots. It will very soon feel like an old friend, very familiar. Let's go to 18. Chen Ye-sung from the border of the fairway, working back down. And the time on the green is short-lived as she about a club short. And Uni Na on the par 5, only 82 to go. This will be slightly left of center, 17 yards deep. Pretty much exactly where she wanted to end up. First, the drive, the setup has been pretty much cruise control all day. Still waiting for a putt to accompany it. Nothing else. She is deserving of at least a 1 underscore by day's end. With 3 to play, Amy Jung would be happy to get back to even. Chance to start on 16, and it is a nice birdie indeed. Her second of the back nine after 3 bogeys on the front. 72 would be a proper performance considering where she was at the turn. Uni now with a significant break. She read it well, just hit the ball too hard. So she gets to take a high lofted wedge and play a little bump and run from 17 meters away. Rolls in just a few inches shy. It'll be a par she could make blindfolded. Hung Yu Min now was in this position a couple of holes ago and let the opportunity slip. Birdie here to move within 2, and it's a bit quick. She continues to chase No Suni. For the time being, stays tied. Moon Jung-min, Hong Ji-won, Park Young-kyung. Tour of the club is often a good sign. She was hoping for a bit more speed to get this started. Downslope not able to help her out as much as she would have liked. Mark rotates, tap, and par. She comes in with a 35. Only birdie today was at the 12th. Tied for 35th at 1 under Chun Ye-sung. For a big blast. And head left in a perfect world. Thought we'd lost it for a moment. Right and slightly into the rough. It's a good effort from camera operator to literally run into position. Just so we can witness the second shot for Shin Ji-ae. Nice wood shot to the part of the fairway that widens. And now Uni Na. And she's also going to head right. Shapes that expertly to stay in the fairway. Machine Shield 2. Solid tournaments to start the season. She has the best drive in the group. Down and playing onto the green. And to that jut to its left. Left of the pin is also or be rejoin Imi Jung. That was our first of two chances for a final birdie to get to even. .110 for Unina. That's lovely. You mean 107 in the taller grass. Just north of 100 meters, Pengxin Shields 105. Bit of a gift with the wind, and couldn't ask for much better than that. Shinjie applauded as she reaches the green, and now to the missing ingredient that has been such for some 4 hours. Park Ju-young, 3 birdies in progress on the back nine, 1 to play at 2 under. Time for a par save attempt for Imi Jung. perplexing turn of events. Unable to get the job done. That drops her right back to +2. Some of the shots that gave her the most headaches in the first half of her round. Chung So-Yi quietly has put together a brilliant round. She's on her last at 4 under, which is level with Hung Yoo-min. Has the benefit of 2 holes in hand. Kim-min Seo, the amateur, through 16 holes playing on the front 9, as is Park Hae-jun, both at 3 under, tied for 8th in the closing stages now of the opening round here on Jeju. This is group 29. 4 hours and 10 minutes into their rounds. Just a couple to play. The odds were stacked against Xinjie at the last, and she lipped out on an improbable putt. Maybe left to right. Wants to stay on top of the speed. Want to hit it though. If you're gonna miss a little bit long with the green situation here. And she's finally got one to fall. The gallery's been waiting to cheer, and on 15, they finally get a birdie. And the big personality of the player in their mid-30s. Been able to keep up with the youngsters and push them, give them a lesson in consistency. That's what she's been today, and all that patience finally pays off. And you mean she was right off the tee. She was right and short with her second. Finally able to get up onto the green. .218, Che Ream for birdie for 69. She will need that 70th shot. Propelled her inside of the top 10. She stays tied for 18th. 2 birdies on the day, 7 and 11 to go along with 16 pars in a solid opening round. The 35-year-olds picked up the nickname the Final Round Queen. 11 wins on the LPGA Tour, 6 on the European, 30 on the Japanese. Over 20 here in her native Korea. And 2 major titles, both the Women's British Open 2008, 2012. .64 career titles is no small feat. And she'll picked up a couple last year. She's got a long way to go to catch. Sandwiches a 6 with a couple of birdies and working closer to even. Park Ju-young lofted up really nicely. Always have the option to take a putter there. She trusts the wedge, and we were just shown clearly why. And Yunina misread of the line and brought more power to the party than she needed to. Still a fair bit of work to do for Amy Jung. Her 73rd shot of the day is her final shot of the day. Really nice back nine. It was a tale of 2 halves. Let it slip on 17, otherwise she'd be in with a solid even. Glimpses of some proper potential for the final 3 rounds. secures her par, stays tied for third, 3 back, with just the 1 hole to play. Number 70, Dr. Young, tied for 18th. 2 bogeys and a birdie on the front 9, 3 birdies on the way in. Really good day at the office for her. Keeps herself in the mix.
370m 파4 16번째 홀입니다. 작년도 이 홀이 선수들에게는 가장 어려운 홀이었는데요. 티샷도 가장 어려웠고 그린 플레이도 가장 어려웠던 홀입니다. 티샷이 어려웠던 이유는 약간의 내리막이고 제주도의 허파인 곶자왈 사이로 공략을 해야 되는 홀인데요. 티샷이 페어웨이에 잘 떨어지게 되면 세컨샷은 경사도가 굉장히 심한 그린을 공략해야 됩니다. 작년도에 이효원 선수가 이 홀에서 버디를 함으로써 우승의 발판을 마련했던 홀인데요.
오르막 오른쪽이 높아요. 많이는 없습니다.
오, 그런데 여기서 버디 잡습니다.
그린을 경사가 보면은 앞쪽에서 뒤쪽까지 10등분으로 나눈다면은 앞에서 7등분까지는 심한 오르막이고요. 그 7등분을 지나면은 그 뒤쪽으로 또 내리막이기 때문에 홀의 위치에 따라서 무조건 앞쪽에서 오르막 퍼스를 남겨야 됩니다.
A tour of the 7th hole here on the Teddy course, coming in to 16, and that angle on the reverse side of the green really showing you that the tournament officials could be decidedly quite mean if they so desired at the weekend. A proper drop-off at the back side of the green. 2 bunkers defending the front. Tee shot downhill by about 11 meters. Just about flat to the green from here. It's 139 for Shinjie. Pops up and almost exactly pin high. Maybe a little downhill if we're putting it under the microscope, but after 14 holes without a birdie, she has a chance to go back to back with a nice approach. EA1 goes next. And that is vintage type of execution we've grown so accustomed to seeing. Been a fairly uncharacteristic day by her lofty standards. And Bungxin Shield currently at +2 and running out of time to get back to even. It's a titch short from Bak Jiyoung, but each of the 3 on the green and putting. That's another brilliant bit of perspective to show if the pin was 20 yards further back, it will be a test of bravery as much as it will be execution. Yumin, 2 holes left, needs 3 to get to the top. Good birdie and take sole second. Also, some very good rounds that are in their twilight. Kim Min So's on her last, tied for 8th as an amateur. Park Jun, Chung In Soo both at 3 under as well in their final few, playing over on the Valley course. More from Jeju after this short pause. Closing time in Sogripo-shi. Only a couple of holes remain for our featured groups. One of them includes Yunina and company. A winding putt towards the center. It goes missed. She has the holes to make it back to even. She's going to need to play some faultless golf, but she struggled to get on the greens today, and putter hasn't been able to offer much of a bailout option when it has taken her longer than ideal. It's a tricky one for Hung Min. Uphill, yes, but also quite a bit of break. It's really close, but that extra speed she carries pushes her offline, and will settle for another par. And certainly our special interest story the most today has been the Shinji saga. It's going to pick up some speed right away before it flattens out. Looking for back-to-back birdies. Touch to get it started, and off to the right. Disappointing miss, but another solid par. It's a par for Unina as well. Only 339 meters remaining in her round. EA1 is the last to clean up. Over on 16. Brilliant approach to set it up. She moves back to +1. Double on the par 5 13th after a 255-yard drive. Sliced her second shot out of bounds, took her penalty, and then couldn't overcome with the putter, and that's the main reason she's been chasing this round. It's a course with plenty of accolades. Back in 2019, on a couple of top 10 courses lists in the whole country. Back in 2017, one of the top 100 golf courses in Asia. And there's some beautiful facilities in this part of the world. Golf Travel Asia put it in their top 10. They put it second back in 2018. And this is before the peak season. The flora and fauna is just starting to shake out its long winter's nap. Designed by the course architect Kim Hik-young. Like so many of the courses here, and they vary in style and layouts, always trying their best to infuse the nature. You can see the cherry blossoms. They're falling from the sky. We'll take that over the rain that we saw earlier today. That's brilliantly played from Shinji. To have a day where you've done everything but birdie to get the hole-in-one on Alexis on 17 would be pretty good consolation. Bar's been set pretty high for Akjiang. Hoping her 8-iron does the job. Seven meters to the left of target and striding down the hill. .218, the approach shot for Hung Yumin, 105 left side of the fairway. Uses the width because she wants to stay left here again. Just like that. Centimeters off an eagle. Should go on and jar that. She'll be tied for second with No Sung-yi. Saving one of her best for last. Call this a predicament. On the bright side, a snack or two if she wants it. Some natural sugars to push through to the end, but she's got tree limbs, branches, boggy terrain, and thick grass as she tries to get back into the fairway here. Zoomed into the pits just past the bridge. Commend the bravery. That could have gone all kinds of wrong, but the damage seems to be minimal considering what could have been. One for her birdie. Not the easiest of putts. Needed to reach deep into her bag of tricks. She'll take some comfort in the fact that when she won the tournament last season, it was a 54-hole score of 206, 10 under. And they shot a 71 in the first round. Followed it up with a 67 and a 68 on the way to the win back in August. Union out of the sand and making a tricky shot look simpler than it really is. getting pretty significant assist from the natural momentum. Park Ji-young is off by the width of a ball, maybe. She posted a 68 in the final round last year to move into the top 10. Is well off of that in the final minutes of her opening round. Shield looking like a two-shot par from that position off the green. KLPGA, 2 birdies in the last 3 holes. One of my favorite things about having some of the greats come back and play the odd tournament on tour, not only their legacy, their talent, but they're at the point of their career where the pressure just does not exist to them in the same way that it does for some of these young up-and-comers. Yunina, big save of a par to finish with an opening round 70, tied for 18th. Yeah, one with a simple finish, and on the theme of completion, our penultimate group wrapping up, Machine Shield. It's an even par, 2 bogey, 2 birdie efforts on the way in. Of course, that 39 on the front after a triple bogey to start the day. That obviously not something she wants to or is able to replicate tomorrow to have a fighting chance. And you mean a 5th birdie, second in the back 9, out with the 33, in with a 34, and tied for second with No Sumi, a quarter of the way through the tournament. This is what the course looked like last year in August when we were able to film these fantastic drone shots. 339 meters, this par 4 18th. 230 meters from the tee to the end of that fairway bunker off to the right. Creek comes into play around 280 yards, and then 5 sand traps to the right, 1 to the left, and 3 distinct stages, all sliding back towards the front of the green. It is a 2-tiered green. Pinned today, 15 yards off the front and 5 yards from the left side. GA, who is the world number 18, coming off of a tie for 5th on the LPGA Tour last week. third place finish in Japan a couple of weeks prior. That is 3 top 5 finishes for her across the world already. The Vic Open, the WPGA. In week 5 of the year, she finished as the runner-up. Three total wins last season for her. Won quite the impressive CV in 2023. The 29 events she played on the tour, she won 3 of them, finished the runner-up an additional 4 times, 13 combined top 10s, only missed 1 cut all season long. Table has the Open end of September into October. Major champion as well, the Jinro Championship the week after missing the cut. Whatever she did with those extra days off paid dividends. And no slouch last year either, Park Ji-young. Oh, 28 years of age. 3 wins last season from her 28 events. 2 runner-ups, 10 top 10s. Finished 3rd on the money list, 7th in the points, the 4th lowest scoring average on tour. Titles she took home, KB Financial Group Star Championship, a huge one for 216 million won for that tournament title, which is exactly what the winner will get this week. Jung also taking home the Ever College in La Sienna Queen's Crown and the season opener December of 22, the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. You can say there's some championship pedigree in this group. one, ready for her second, the approach. Gonna stop just before the fringe in that very welcoming extension of the green. GA backpedaling for a better view. Centrally located approach and about an 8-footer for one last birdie to cap off a solid day at work. And that leaves Park Ji-young. Shows her group mates how it's done. Pinpoint accurate approach. Nice boost to refresh her mind, reset her mind, excuse me, and prepare for tomorrow. The final act in a very enjoyable Thursday afternoon now. A few minutes after 5 p.m. local. to cap off the day with only 3 last shots. It's 5.2 meters for Shinjie, the toughest by distance, likely the toughest by movement as well. Let's see what she has in store. She just left a little bit off of it. This was the scene of playoff drama. EA1, Kim Min-sun 7. One-shot playoff to decide the inaugural champ, and it was EA1 who prevailed. Hardly has to give this more than a nudge. Line it up, get it started. Birdie takes her to even. One foot on the fringe, 1 foot on the green. The ball just missing to the right. So it's a 73-1 over for the defending champion. It's tied for 66, just 2 birdies all day long, double 13, bogeys 70. Some work to be done tomorrow. Birdie hopes rest on the shoulders. Park Ji-young. With a little less, I think the results would remain the same. Is a 75. Barely inside the top 100, tied for 97th. Main difference between these two, Park Ji-young with 4 bogeys on the card. Shinjie only with 2 birdies, but this would be par number 16. The world number 18 rolls in that tiny par, tied for 17th. Mix in a few more birdies tomorrow, and final round queen might just be in the hunt, heading towards the weekend after all. Just about time to get on out of here, Teddy Valley. But before we do, of course, we have some round highlights for you. Talk about rounds where there was hardly a mistake. No Seung-yi and her 5 under par. 5 birdies, no bogeys. Brilliant Thursday effort. Always curious how it goes. The players teeing off on 10. Park Yang had been one of them. That birdie at 7 was her 4th, and 4 under is where she would finish the day. Tied for 4th as well, some nice symmetry there. Some peaks and valleys, some ups and downs of Peng Xin-Xiu. That was one of her shots of the round. Bumps her up from 105 to 93 with her birdie after tripling hole number 1. 9 is next. It was an 8-iron for Hung Yu-min. She was starting to tiptoe her way up towards the top. Dropped that out of the heavens and rolled in a 4-footer. Out with a 33 she would go. Not quite able to duplicate it on the back, but didn't really need to with some of the shot making she was doing. Uni Na on 9 just before the turn would have her second birdie. Be on the right side of even. And EA1, some disappointing moments, but some brilliant moments as well. This still when the rain was coming down. Tap in birdie from just a few inches away, then on 12. Still even at this point. But a very fortuitous kick. That little stretch of fairway before the green, and able to capitalize on great approach. More from Uni Na. Similar soft greens playing very favorable. Able to birdie that 5-footer. 117 on 11. Xinjie early on her back 9. A hop, skip, and a jump. This, unfortunately, the theme of her round. Until the final handful of holes. Great approach, cold putter. Great approach, cold putter. Almost got her first birdie from off the green. Cannot play a shot from the rough any better than that, knowing she needed it to slope right away, but still get out of the tall grass. And then one hole later, a lip out. Drop the putter. Head to the sky. Where are these birdies? Well, she'd finally get her answer on a very tight downhill putt. Line had to be perfect. It was. And we got to celebrate with the supporters. Tag on one more at 17. Second to last hole again. Downhill putt. Seems to be right in her wheelhouse. On the way to that 70, which is a score currently shared by 19 players, but she is one of them. And you mean on 18, just about eagled out to conclude the day. That would have given her sole possession of second. Instead, she has to share it with No Soon-Yi with her 67. A bogey-free round for her as well, and certainly a player to be reckoned with the rest of the way. But it was Che Gabin's day. Few players left to conclude their rounds. Park Hye-jun is one that we will see on page 2 of the leaderboard. She has 2 holes remaining and could move closer towards the top. Kim Min-sol, the amateur, a 68 4-under opener, was quite impressive as well. Great to see Kim Min-sun 7 in the mix after falling in a playoff to EA1 last year. She posts that 69. Yang Yun-so, another amateur, invited to the competition with a 2-under round of 70 to be inside of the top 20 with the likes of Uni Na, who played some solid golf at times throughout the day. Lee Juni and Ko Chi-won both on 18, their respective 18th holes. A final chance to add one more birdie. That's going to do it for us today as we gaze towards Halasan in the background in a day that started a little bit drizzly but ended up quite fair indeed. We're back on the air at the same time tomorrow. That is 2 p.m. local for round 2, and we hope you'll join us then. here at Teddy Valley as the Doosan Engineering and Construction Weave Championship coverage will continue. Have a great Thursday night, everyone. We look forward to welcoming you back to the LPGA Tour of Korea on Friday.